Hello everyone and welcome back to one of my videos. In today's videos I want to share with you some ideas on how you can prioritize better. It's very common to have everything or to hear from so many people that everything is urgent or that everything needs to be done at the same time. I bet that most of you have heard that multitasking, it's sort of a super skills that everyone needs to do. And the problem with this is that this has somehow made us to believe that we can do everything at the same time, which is not a reality. And therefore, we have heard this statement that everything is for yesterday or everything is urgent, so we needed to do, so on and so forth. However, you have also have heard, and however, that you know that this is almost impossible, and I bet that you have heard or that you have seen this chart, which is called Eisenhower prioritized chart, where you have urgent, important, not important, and therefore you kind of somehow manage yourself on how to prioritize. This can be easy, but in fact it's not that easy to implement on a day-to-day, because most commonly what we do is we start with a to-do list, and therefore we start prioritizing depending on what we think it's a priority or not, or based on experience. In this video, I would like to share a different approach on how you can prioritize better, easy to understand, which is of course the purpose of this video, so that you can follow this at work, at university, college, or whatever project you're working for. So we're gonna use the same basic example. The same base. We're gonna have 4 spaces, but we're gonna be speaking about money, people, project tasks, and to-do list. For the first things, we're going to be starting with this priority system by asking us different questions. We're going to ask ourselves questions instead of putting a random statement. We're going to ask first, will this have an impact on finance? This is the first thing that you have to do. If you're working on a project or at a company, or even for students that are at college or university, everything has an impact on finance. For example, if there is a project that is related to a cost or a budget, or is there an activity that if I don't do, then I will have to pay more? A good example of this will be, for example, that I'm working on a project, and if I don't do that, then it will cost more for the company, for wherever. Or if you are, for example, a student, and then if you don't study on time, therefore you might have to pay for a re-examination, whatever the example. But you also have to start asking yourself, will this have an impact on finance? If so, then what you have to do is to delegate that task or do it. This is depending on how important it's that a task is, something that you have to do it or not. But this is going to be, let's say, your first step, your first question, and your first task to do as well. So this, it's linked to the second question that you have to ask to yourself, which is going to be, can someone else do it better and faster? Which also replies to the question here. Then do it by yourself or delegate it. So if there's someone in your team, a colleague, a member of your family that can do that task better and faster than you, then delegate it, please. Delegate it immediately so that task can convert to you in a better, faster person. So then you have to ask, is this a project or a task? Many people don't really know what is the difference in between. A project usually, and I'll make a video about this, a project always has a goal and a tangible deliverable, which means that you have a result in the end, but that follows an objective. A task, it's just simply a list to do, like pay bills, for example, study, make a video, whatever you want. So then you have to reply to yourself, okay, it is a project or a task. And then depending on which of these is my answer, for example, if it's a project, then I need to review who's responsible for that task, so then I can delegate or I can do it by myself. Will it have impact on everything? It's linked, and remember, Or if it's in a task, then I need to again go back to it will have an impact on money, or I can delegate it. So that's important to understand. To finally create your to-do list, as you might think, you say, hey, I could start, I will have said, I could start by my to-do list, and therefore I can do my priorities. No, do it the other way around. You really need first, you really need to start first asking you questions, and then after you have replied those questions properly and honestly, then you can, of course, do your to-do list, which eventually will lead you to prioritize better. I hope you have enjoyed this video for this time. Please subscribe to my channel and gives me a thumbs up. See ya tomorrow.